I went to Binghamton University for 2 years. I quickly made a big group of friends there, and we'd go out every weekend, one weekend on a Friday night in October. When my group didn't have any big plans together, me and 2 other close friends decided to hang out in the school, nature preserved by the lake. There was this little clearing on the far side of the lake that was convenient for fires, since it was so far from view of the school or campus. Security kids would sometimes, but not often, come here to smoke pot, drink, and do basically all the other drugs. It was a relatively unknown spot on campus by most, and we liked that about it tonight. We just brought a bunch of beers, lit a fire, and hung out, having what we referred to at the time as a brochette. As the night progressed, time seemed to pass quicker as the alcohol began to take effect. Eventually, it got to the point where we were all laughing so hard that one of my 2 friends was on the floor rolling in the leaves. That was when my other friend stopped laughing and went. We all perked up and listened and heard the crunching of leaves and branches in the distance. We threw our bottles in the lake since we were all under 21, and it wasn't unheard of for campus police to come through the woods on weekends to catch kids doing drugs. We tucked the rest of the beers into a backpack. I was moderately drunk, so my paranoia was higher than usual. That was probably the case for all of us. The fire exposed us to anyone passing through the woods. But the thing is, this spot was so unknown and far from campus that it was rare to find anybody else, that deep into the woods it sounded like just one person in the distance. The sound of a tree branch snapping not too far away freaked all of us out. None of us were really the confrontational ones from our group, so we were lacking that one person who would have the confidence to stand up and yell out to whoever was out there. Instead, we all just sat in silence, shushing each other. We heard what seemed to be somebody or something circling us, or at least walking around in a C shape around our little campsite. It literally started to feel like we were in the movie The Blair Witch Project, because these sounds in the near distance, like cracking tree branches and leaves crunching on the ground, kept echoing over to our campsite. We laughed about it at first, but I personally soon became terrified of who or what it could be out of the blue. A huge thud made all 3 of us jump. At first, I didn't understand. Even though I saw what caused the sound, it took me a few seconds to digest the fact that a branch had been thrown into the center of our little fireside. One of my 2 friends took off running, while my other friend and I sat behind looking at each other, half laughing and half concerned. I feel like we didn't know yet if this was some kind of joke or not. Then my friend let out a scream of pain as he was struck in the face by another tree branch. I grabbed the backpack, helped my friend up off the floor, and we hauled ass back in the direction of our dorm. When we made it to the road separating the nature preserve from our dorm, we stopped to catch our breath. But whoever was out there proved to be following us when we heard footsteps coming closer to the road. We continued to run back to the dorm, and when we got back to our floor, we found our other friend in his room. Already, we looked out of his room window down to the woods. There was someone pacing back and forth by the woods, and every time a car passed, they would walk back into the woods eventually. Whoever it was went back into the woods for good, to never be seen again by us. We continued our drinking session in the dorm room, and within 10 minutes we were all laughing about it. It wasn't until the next morning that we all realized how terrifying that experience actually was. We never really went back into the woods past dark after that.